Hello, Shrish, you absolute disgraceful animal, for forgetting to mention in your list of prominent religions, Pastafarianism.
And therefore, on behalf of the flying spaghetti monster, I ban you from pasta for 40 years.
I truly hope that you understand the severity of the crime which you have committed. Now that we have that out of the way, welcome to Magnifloss, the channel where two friends talk about anything and everything, whatever's on our minds at this current point in time. Yeah, religion's a complicated topic, what can I say? You know what's not as controversial though? Oatmeal. You see, the Oatmeal-Raisin Cookie actually has an interesting bit of history. Its origins actually date back to 43 AD Scotland, and it's rumored to actually have existed even before then, because oats are kind of the only grains that grow well in the north of Scotland. But anyways, fast forwarding from 43 AD into the 14th century, if you're a Scottish soldier, you know all too well that in the midst of battling for your freedom from the English, what to do if you're hungry. Simply take out your metal plate, heat it up over some fire, moisten up a bit of oatmeal, and make a cake. An oat cake. It is this hefty consumption of oat by the Scottish soldiers and the people of Scotland as a whole, which caused famed writer Samuel Johnson, who you might recognize from this meme, to write in his official dictionary for the English language for the word oats, a grain which in England is generally given to horses, but in Scotland supports the people. Roasted! Now, rumor has it that a Scottish soldier by the name of Patrick Murray just wasn't having it with this definition, and he actually clapped back. He retorted with, yes, and that's why England is known for its horses and Scotland for its men. So why did I tell you about this? Well, because I want to talk about definitions. Now, practically speaking, this definition offered by Johnson is an incorrect one for the word oats. Oats actually correspond to real life things that we can touch and taste. They're nutrient-rich, fiber-packed grains. And so we already have a preconceived notion of what they are, and we have a good basis for how to judge whether a given definition does justice to describing the objects. But what about definitions for things that don't exist in the real world? Things that we can't actually touch or interact with. Can those definitions be wrong? What would it even mean for such a definition to be wrong, right? I mean, what's gonna stop me, right? I can define anything I want. I can define my own Bitla world, where the ocean is just Bitla. Or as in the case of Oregon State University graduate Bobby Henderson, define a flying spaghetti monster that created the entire universe with its bare tentacles just because it had a little bit too much to drink last night. Or I could define the word foo to mean some unicorn species that has rainbow-colored poop. Wait, I think unicorns already do that, but whatever. But what if I then define a subspecies of foo called bar, which don't have this rainbow-colored poop property? That's not possible, because if I have a member of bar, then that means that they cannot have the rainbow-colored poop property. But since they're a member of bar, they're also a member of foo, meaning that they do have the rainbow-colored poop property, which is a contradiction. Therefore, the only logical possibility is that either the definition of foo or the definition of bar, or both, are wrong. Logic itself forbids their existence. Here's another interesting example. Let's define a photographer that goes to a party and takes pictures of those and only those that do not take pictures of themselves. If you're someone at this party that enjoys taking selfies, this photographer is not going to bother you. However, if you take no selfies of yourself at the party, this photographer is going to be all over your face, unfortunately. Now, although slightly creepy, this does sound like a fair definition for this particular photographer, right? Like, if you read this in a novel, you'd just be like, okay, what's next? Well, the question is, does the photographer take a picture of themselves? Because if the photographer does, then this means that they themselves are someone at this party that took a picture of themselves, which means that the photographer should not take a picture of them, but they are the photographer, which means that they both took a picture of themselves, but they also didn't. A contradiction. On the other hand, if we imagine that the photographer doesn't take a picture of themselves, then they themselves are someone at the party that didn't take a picture of themselves, which means that the photographer should. And therefore, we have another contradiction. So logically speaking, this definition of the photographer is incorrect. So this photographer cannot logically exist. It's quite mind-blowing to me how complicated definitions themselves can be. It's why there's an entire Wikipedia page dedicated to the term well-defined. And it's also why I think that when most people are arguing about something, they're not really arguing about the complex consequences of something. They're really arguing about the complex definitions which the consequences rely on. I'll leave you with the tip on how to destroy a magical genie. If you happen to come across a magical lamp and you rub it and out comes a genie asking you for wishes, instead of asking the genie for more wishes like a normal person would, if you're someone that likes to see the world burn, ask the genie the truth value of the sentence. This sentence is false. Shrish, I'll see you next week.